Gearheads know that some projects need so many parts, it feels like you need a whole storage unit just to store them. That's what eBay Motors' 122 million parts are for. Think of it as your virtual parts garage. They've always got the right fitment at the right prices. Use the eBay Motors app or visit ebaymotors.com. Let's ride.
Holidays are here, and so is fashionable fitness. Gift yourself a Samsung Galaxy Z Flip 3 5G, a phone that folds in half to literally stand on its own. Pair it with the Galaxy Watch 4 for ultimate wellness and wow factor. Check health stats, flex personal records. Over 90 activities can be tracked, like biking, swimming, golfing, and more. Invest in yourself with tech made to crush goals. Holidays open up with Galaxy. Shop it all at Samsung.com. 5G connection and availability may vary. Check with carrier. Products sold separately.
Hey everyone, this is the Almost World Podcast. Bringing to you mind-blowing interviews with guests from all over the world. So settle down, relax, and enjoy the show. Oh yeah, by the way, if you like the podcast, please support Elmo's World Podcast on Patreon. Your support is what helps the podcast improve more and more. 3. Welcome to Elmo's World Podcast. This is Elmo, your host in Elmo's World. And I have my friend Matthew Rock here. He's an atheist, but I want to dive into Matt's life and ask him about stuff like Alan Watts and his perspective on life and the universe. So, Matt, can you introduce yourself?
Hi, Matthew Rock. I'm 63 years old. I run printing presses for a living. And I'm a musician, play guitar, enjoy music, enjoy life. I guess I was picked to do this because of my outspoken views on Facebook about atheism. Is that correct?
Yeah, one of them, but yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, so yeah, and I have, I don't know if it's unique exactly, perspective, but it's not a Christian worldview. You know, I'm not a Christian. I believe in people, not gods. People do things. God doesn't do anything.
Mm-hmm.
Is what?
Yeah. But by the way, Matt, like I want you to briefly state why you don't believe in God, like maybe in one sentence or whatever. Why?
Why? Because there's no reason for it. There's no good reason for it. And the God of the Bible happens to be a monster. So I reject that. And I don't know much about the Quran, but the God of the Bible is not good.
Okay.
It's not good. It's not loving. It's not good.
Okay.
It's all about punishment and,
Well, but how have
yeah,
you
go
lived
ahead.
life though, being I wouldn't say godless, but more just not believing in a God?
I don't think you get morals from on high. There's not a separate being that bestows moral guidance or anything. I mean, to use the Bible as a moral guidebook is absurd. It's the least moral.
Yeah. So
It's
where do you get
horrible.
morals
It's
though in your life?
you
When you
get
have
it's a survival thing. Because if you treat people better, you will do better.
Mm-hmm.
If you go around, just being horrible, the world is not going to be a good place.
Mm-hmm.
So, it's a matter of survival. That's why you do it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
That's
it's
why you
like
have morals.
something Confucius would say, right?
To begin with, and then, everyone has a sense of, right and wrong. It's just, it doesn't have to come from somewhere else. I mean, why can't it just be like your bones or your hair or your breath
Mm-hmm.
or anything else?
Yeah.
Does that make sense or no?
Yeah, it's something like what Confucius would say, that do unto others what you would want others to do to you. The Chinese, well, they don't believe in a classical theist at that time, and they developed these moral philosophies as well. With Eastern philosophy, Taoism, Shintoism, and especially Buddhism. It's and Alan Watts, the basis of his philosophy is mainly from Eastern philosophy, right? And he
Yeah,
has some good lines, some good awesome quotes. I love to
yeah.
quote
Oh,
Alan
yeah,
Watts.
yeah. He was brilliant. Yeah, for sure. I love listening to him. I like his voice too, so it makes it.
Yeah. It was
makes
also
it,
always high,
but
I think, or the
yeah, well, it might have been.
yeah.
Um, but the the Eastern religions, I think, are more suitable, for me if I was gonna, you know, to become religious, you
Mhm.
know, because they're just more, they make more sense. There's no blood sacrifice, for
Yeah.
your sins or
Except
any of
for
that
like
business.
Hinduism though, right? Because Hinduism is very well, from a Christian perspective, it would be like pagan worldview with like multiple gods and stuff, and the rituals and the traditions.
Yeah. Well, people, I guess, tend to be religious, but it doesn't it doesn't necessarily prove the existence of a God. I mean, it may be just a desire to have some consciousness, you know, other other than because the problem becomes when you want to separate yourself from your situation. You want to remove I from what's happening.
Mhm.
You know,
Mhm.
and the the duality
Mhm.
comes in. Where you and this other you are in conflict.
Yeah,
Like,
what do you mean by the duality though? That's an interesting
well,
thought.
where you are your watcher, but you say that it's God. You're the one watching you, not God. It's you,
Mm-hmm.
right? I mean, you're all you know for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Like yourself, and I mean you. I, this is hard
Yeah, it's
to
okay,
get
but
at, but you,
I'd like to dive into like your philosophy in life though, right? So let me ask you this. You've been working, like, you're 63 now, and that's a lot of working days. Like thousands of working days. What's kept you going in these days? All your days. What's
uh,
what's the purpose?
well, I don't know if there is one.
So why do you do it though?
Well, because it's because I want to.
But why do you want to? That's the question, right? Like I don't
Why do I want
you
to? Because well, there are times when I don't want to, sure,
yeah,
but
everybody feels that way
it's
too.
more interesting to continue on. I mean, I just want to see what's next.
Yeah, okay.
You know,
But I guess like what is
is that
next?
is that bad? I mean,
You know,
is
eh,
that
I don't judge, but like for me, if I
is
use
it
that,
shallow? Is
no,
it too shallow?
it's nothing shallow, bro. Like even if you look at it, like you're waiting for like maybe just the next sequel of your life, maybe every day. Although it's still the same day, right? Like it's the same minute, it doesn't change. The same sun, that like nothing changes, just like current events maybe, but it's all dying and living and
Yeah,
being born and breathing. Nothing's really changing.
right. It's what I like to think about is the the moment,
Yeah, the moment.
not the past or the future, but the now is fascinating.
It is. It's mundane, right? Like how Albert Camus would define it. It's just so plain, yet it's there. You can like experience the
Yeah,
profoundness of just being. It's really deep, but
right. It's the whole thing. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah. It's everything. And there it
yeah.
is.
There it is. So what if there's
Yeah,
like no reason for it? It's just there. And
yeah.
what?
Who cares? I don't want a reason. I don't need a reason.
Yeah, the real thing though, right? When we I watched this video about consciousness by this like professor, and he defined consciousness in three ways. Like there's this proto consciousness, and then there's the biographical consciousness, and then this other like the core consciousness. So the proto and the core consciousness are like how animals have these consciousness in the brainstem, but what makes humans different is their biographical consciousness, where we have like extended memory, creativity,
Yeah,
history, culture, stuff. The
right.
like where our humanity lies, like what makes us different from animals, and it starts there. Being a human. I,
Talking about. I have not heard this. The proto and the core and
yeah,
the biographical. Did you say?
I can send you the link on
Hmm.
YouTube, but yeah. So what makes us humans like different from animals, like experiencing this, is it's not derived from our rationality, but more on this like thing that we have as humans, where we have art. We see beauty. We can appreciate things in a weird way that animals usually will never do. Like because animals are very rational, right? Like so if they want to live, that's the thing about rationality, is being survivability. So if you want food, you gotta stick with this human because the human provides you food, and every time the human whistles, it means like he's feeding you or something. So it's so rational, right, for animals. But humans, they're so weird. Like they have this thing called singing, right? and they and they just sing like sounds, and but they appreciate it. Like that's not rational at all. Why do you? They don't. They enjoy things that are beyond what is like pleasurable physically, and like not just like fixations on sex, but more on they also appreciate love that goes deeper. There's something weird about humans, and I think that's how we evolved into this consciousness that can experience much much more than just normal animals. We went in this path, and now we have TikTok, we have YouTube, you know, the epitome of human feats. What do you think?
It's mysterious. Why we are the way we are. We don't really know how we got to be this way, right? I mean, other than evolution, you can't really explain it, you know. I mean, that's why the creation story is, just ridiculous. But and I don't mean to go back to, religion, but I it is inexplicable, why, we want to create things and, do unnecessary things, that don't necessarily support life, I mean, your physical life, your like food and, like you were saying, food and whatever,
Yeah,
protection from predators or whatever.
yeah.
That why we're like that is, who can say?
Well, I guess that we don't have to talk about why we're like that, but we can talk about how we're like that, because you can observe human activities, and you always see the irrationalism, especially in terms of spirituality, in terms of human relationships. We don't really value the reasoning into that kind of stuff, right? And you don't tell your wife or your girlfriend why you love her. I love you just because you have this. You rely on the irrationality of your love for her, and that's how we think, because like, oh, if you only love your wife for like because she had like huge breasts, but if it becomes soggy, then you won't love her anymore, right? So if it's something irrational that love is, and that's what made us special, because we don't have to rely on reasoning for a lot of things. We can make these weird connections. It's really awesome.
Right. It's right. Well, I mean, whether or not animals take care of their young out of love is,
Well,
you,
I
you
don't
don't
think
know if you can
animals
really, you
do
don't know if you
that.
can really.
I don't think that animals have a sense of like human love. Maybe it's more of just instinct, I guess. But you could say that we also
Yeah.
have instinct. Like, is love, like human love, also just instinctual? Like, do I love my family just because of these evolved instincts? Yeah, we don't like to think that way, like, no, I don't love my brother, my parents, just because of instinct, like, because I evolved naturally, so to survive, to protect my kin, my close kin. Like,
Yes.
it's really sucky when you look at that kind of truth, so what, you know you get what I mean, like you tell your mom, like, hey mom, like
I'm
I just love you because of natural evolution and instinct, that's all.
right. It, it's a better for survival if,
Yeah.
again, if for the whole planet,
Mm-hmm.
if if you're not Yeah, so so you are tied to it. You are tied to it, and it is tied to everything. And it's it's ridiculous to have a cosmic um, mob boss, you know.
Yeah, but I don't know why
So
you're going back to
there's
God
no.
though. Like, but anyways,
No, I
why do
don't.
you keep coming back to
I don't know.
God
I don't
then?
know either.
But anyway, yeah, but the thing
No,
though is
I
like
because
I want to
I'm,
ask
I'm
you,
just.
because you've been working in a printing press all your life, right? When you wake up
Uh,
every day, like, oh, I'm so excited to run the printing press again. Like it's a great new day. Do you
yeah.
think like that? Like,
Well,
why do
it's
I do
always.
this?
It is always different. I mean, it's not the same. It's not. Well, it's the same, but but it's different things. And it's a
Yeah,
different day,
yeah,
and it's all right. I mean, why does it have to? You know, does it have? Am I? Yeah. Why does it have to be better, or
yeah. But the thing
why?
though, what I'm asking though, it doesn't have to be like something special, like cosmic reasoning. But why do you, like, what goes in your mind when you wake up and go to work before, just what thoughts come into your head in that kind of life?
Mm, well, that's a tough one. I don't know.
Well,
I try,
dude, like
I try not to.
you've been living for 63 years, and I think you'd know what you've been
Yeah,
thinking all this time, though. Maybe you've got some, you
yeah,
know.
but it's just like the things at hand. That's all. The day to day.
Mm-hmm.
I the you can only expend so much conscious attention, at a time, right? You can't because like Alan Watts says, you're not thinking about you're pumping your heart, you're not consciously making your lungs, you know, operate.
Yeah,
You're not the one making your eyes, you know,
but
do what they do.
the thing
They
is
just
like
do it.
that.
They
But
just do it. So the rest of your
that
brain
this is what I
is
think, though. You're not your eyes blinking automatically. You're not your heart beating automatically. You are every conscious decision you make. That is you. That
yeah,
makes you up. That makes up you.
yeah,
You're not specifically the bones or the meat in your body. You're not, but you are that thing that is there, that acts freely, but not like in a
yeah.
non-deterministic way, like spiritual way, but just free to do whatever he wants. So in every day of your life, this is just a simple question, like, what does the you think about every day? Like, I'm gonna wake up, I'm waking up, and I'm just gonna live this day. I have no choice, but I'm just gonna live this day anyway. So is that sort of the mindset you have, or like, I'm gonna enjoy this the fuck up out of this day, because this is my day.
Well, I will do all of that. You know, I'll
Mm-hmm.
think this is pointless, and then I'll think, well, you
You
know,
really think that, like, this
this
is
is kind of
pointless?
cool.
You think that, like,
I do sometimes. I do.
wow, okay,
Sure.
yeah, everybody does too.
But I mean, it doesn't last long because,
Okay.
you can't control your thoughts. Your consciousness just flows. You
Mm-hmm.
can try to direct it here and there,
Mm-hmm.
but the fact is it just goes, and you're it and it is you, and
In a
it's in
way,
motion, and
you're
and that's it.
what I think you're saying is that you're sort of imprisoned by yourself, that you can't step out of being you and be another thing. You know, you're just you
Well,
for the rest of your
can
life.
you? I mean, can you really do that?
Yeah, well, a lot of people do that. Like the ones who focus on losing the self. You know, those like in Buddhism, they have this concept, right, where you separate, suffering but from life by losing yourself. And when you that's why
Oh
they
yeah, like
that's why there's a saying
well,
like
like
when you
meditation.
like you when you meet Buddha in the street, you kill him, right? Because he's the self. It's a weird saying.
Yeah,
But what do you
yeah,
think
I
though?
like that. I like that mode of thinking much better than I'm a servant. You know,
Mm-hmm.
I like whatever it is. If I choose whatever, see that's the thing though. It's whatever you're in control of it. And it's just however you
Mm-hmm.
um however you perceive it or you shape it or
Mm-hmm.
it's you're doing it. That's what
Mm-hmm.
karma is. It's like what you're doing. It's not what a lot of people think is like what you did in a past life or is payback for something you've already done. It's just what you are doing. That is karma, your action.
Mm-hmm.
So
But like you don't
it
believe in
can
karma,
go.
right? Like I don't think you do. Like karma
No,
isn't
no, I'm saying
karma is a
that's what
spiritual thing.
karma is really the misunderstanding is that it's payback for something else that you did
Mm,
in the past.
Well, the
But
the real concept of karma is like
what it really means is what you're doing. It's what you're doing. What you did it. This is what you did, and that's it. So this is what everything that you've done or said or that's it. That's the
mm,
karma.
mm, mm.
But it's not retribution
Mm-hmm.
for something.
Yeah, I guess then that you said you so yourself that you're just you can't be other things, so you just it goes with the flow of life that you just live
Well,
it, but the thing though, I want to ask though, like if you were put to make your life a narrative, like a story, let's say, because people like stories and people like to find stories in many things, um if you were the hero, what would be like the plot of your life? Like you're not at the end of it. I think you have a long way to go, bro. But what adventures have you gone through?
oh, what adventures have I gone through?
Like the climaxes and the drama and the horror and the things
Mm,
that
yeah,
make a good story. What would that be?
yeah. Oh, wow.
You got any?
That's like that's a well, I've done a lot of things, I
Yeah,
mean,
well, tell us.
I've, I've been in the army. I was in the army. I've been
Awesome.
to Korea. I have two sons. Um,
Well, that's a good life
yeah, I've
already.
definitely had some ups and downs.
Yeah, we all do, man. Like
and,
we
that,
all do.
and that's it. And that's it's the up and the down.
Yeah.
That's the universe. It's like that's an Alan Watts thing. It's just the vibration, you know,
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
everything.
Well, I guess though that if you to think to not to think about the ups and downs, people define it as up and down, but what makes it up and down is our emotional response to situations, right? So these emotional
Yes.
responses are simply determined by the chemicals in your brain. So it's if you get a dose of dopamine because of this, or something like sadness,
Mm.
it's all chemicals. So if you remove the emotions, the chemicals in your brain, would there be anything, or would there be actually any up and down in your life, right? Would
Yeah.
there be despair and sorrow even though it's not chemically created or caused? That's the question. What do you think? Like,
Well,
is it all just chemicals, like these up and downs, or is there
well, there
something
there has to
deeper
be
there?
there has to be, because nothing is all one way, because of the dual. And oh, one more thing that I didn't mention was all of this for me started with Joseph Campbell.
Awesome.
Do you know?
Yeah, I love that
Yeah,
guy. Yeah.
when I saw him or the interview with Bill Moyers back in the '80s, there,
Mm-hmm.
that's what sent me on this whole trip. And um, but the the right, and the duality, when
Mm-hmm.
you're in all religions, there is the dual, or in life, in human consciousness,
The
there's duality.
duality.
Nothing is all one way.
Mm.
Nothing can be. That's why heaven would be boring, because
Why?
nothing would ever happen, because it's got to be all good.
Well,
So there's
yeah.
nothing.
But I have a different definition of heaven, but we could talk about that some later. But anyways, you're right though. It's not just one way. So you don't get sad or have despair or suffer just because of like the chemicals. And you're right, there's a
Yeah,
duality happening there. And it may be that because you are sad, because you are in sorrow, then that's why simply that the biology follows and gives you these chemicals to react to it in a way, it's as a coping mechanism for what is deep inside you, which is broken or hurting. It's a good
yeah.
thought to think about, you know. And so,
And
mhm,
nothing is permanent. You will have
yeah,
sorrow, and then it will pass, and it'll
yeah,
come back, and
yeah.
and so
But sad
you just
thing
have
though
to.
is like a lot of people who have sorrow, they end their lives early, and
Yeah.
it's hard to
Well,
cope
that's
with.
ridiculous.
Well,
Yeah.
I
Well,
don't, I
that's
wouldn't call it ridiculous, but it's maybe that it was so hard for them, like people who have depression. It
yeah.
if you have it, it's not so easy to say that I'm just gonna lose depression. Sometimes it's a lot
Yeah.
harder uh to cope with. And
Right. And so they treat that with chemicals. I don't know.
yeah, yeah,
It's
you're right. And
We are all
I
just
I
stuff.
have a
You
problem
know.
with that though, right? Like, if like the solution to, for example, if I was suffering from depression because my life sucked so much, like I had no family, no friends, was deep in vices and had no job, and and that people and a doctor would just recommend like some drugs so that my life would be happy again. Like, no, dude, that's not the root cause. You're just eliminating the
Yeah.
symptoms. And that's sad.
Yeah.
That's just sad,
Yeah.
man. Well,
It's ridiculously sad. Yeah. That's what
it is.
suicide is. Well,
Yeah.
then you're out of option. Once
Mm-hmm.
once you do that, there's no.
Mm-hmm. But the thing about suicide, right, is that it it hurts the people who love you around you more.
Around you, right?
Yeah,
Right.
because I've had a lot of people. I met a lot of people who like committed like that, like so sad. But it brings so much pain to the people left behind. Like, what, like for
Yeah.
example, the guilt, like what could I have done
Sure.
to have changed it, to have helped it.
Sure.
It's devastating, and
Yeah.
how
Yeah.
about
It's a
you
bad
though?
idea.
How
It's
about
a
you
it's a
though?
bad idea all around. And I've what? How about me? What?
Well, have you like uh, encountered any experiences about that specifically, sadness, and
Suicide, sadness.
yeah,
I I don't
I'm talking about
know.
the sad that isn't just short term, like creeping into
Well,
your whole
there's
life.
there's always, yeah, regrets. Yes,
Mm-hmm.
they
Me too, man.
they don't they don't disappear too easily. But
Yeah.
what are you gonna do?
Well,
Nobody's perfect.
well,
It's just
well, a lot of people, when they have these regrets, what they do is they provide justice by like like punishing themselves. Like, oh, I deserve this because I
yeah,
did that. I deserve this. And it's
yeah,
an endless cycle.
yeah, that's right.
People have to stop doing that
Yeah,
though. Like,
so it
how
ain't
would
easy.
how would you though, like, if you were in deep regret, in despair of who you were before, what you've done, how would you cope with that, like resolve it?
Well, I don't know.
Yeah.
It's you again. It's you can you can subliminate, or you
You can
can
hide
just
it.
deal with it.
Yeah.
You can subdue it, whatever. And it doesn't have to be. It doesn't have to ruin your life. You know. I
Yeah,
guess
but
you could let it, but it doesn't
mhm.
have to.
But what I do myself, I have a lot of regrets too, like especially even though I'm just 20 years old, I've done a lot of bad things in my life. And when you look at yourself in the mirror, it's and you see this like monster that in your mind that these people don't know the true me, it's and and then you constantly humiliate yourself in your thinking. But what I do in that is you're right, in a way you subliminate it, but what I do is just keep it to myself, and I develop this rationality as to me being insensitive to to myself. Like I like I give I'm just giving zero fucks about who I was before and about that, and it doesn't matter,
Right.
and I'm just going to encounter a new day, And
Yes.
I love about Christianity though, like they have this concept of like being born again. So in a way,
Yeah.
it's like therapy, like you have this evil person of the past, and when you murder this person, that all the guilt and shame is not it's and you pass it on to someone perfect, there. So what happens is that it's sort of therapeutic, where you lose that sense of
A
fu-
catharsis.
yeah, that
A
evil
catharsis.
identity. Yeah, you're right, a catharsis, and people
Yeah.
experience it every day, and it's become a great tool for religion to use in order to give people a sense of holiness, or like not to lose this guilt. And you know you may
Yeah.
say what you want about religion, but it does well with this stuff in helping people with life, and it speaks a lot about like the countless testimonies about how their lives were changed because of religion. In Eastern philosophy, even cults have these experiences. It's really interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's pros and cons to it. That's why it's attractive.
Well, it's scapegoating.
Yeah, it is. But it works though.
to,
It works.
well, if at least it's not in a literal sense.
Yeah. Like
It's
in a court, like
you're not actually, you're not actually killing Jesus over and over again. But
mm, mm. But it does
but
work, and that's amazing. Like, whoa.
well, if it works, then that's
Then
great.
okay.
I can't say that it's bad if
If it works.
and I never really have, and it like say, if it works for you, that's great.
Mm-hmm.
Don't try to tell me that I should,
Mm-hmm.
be
Yeah.
doing this or thinking this
Yeah.
or anything like that. That's where I have the problem. You know,
Mm-hmm.
it should be a personal. It should. I mean, religion should really
I
back up
definitely
as
agree.
far as
Yeah.
especially Christianity in the United States.
Yeah.
They
Spirituality
need to back up.
is individual. It's yours to think about, to dwell on. Your soul is yours.
Yeah,
It's
sure,
not owned by
sure.
anyone.
Right, and not a guy in the sky either. You know.
Maybe, but like, who's to define what God is, though, right? Like, you may define God in a way like this, but the truth is, like, most, or at least all religions, like, base their understanding of who God is, like, in something that they cannot describe, like, so impossible
Yeah,
to comprehend.
right.
So, like,
So what good is that?
well, it's
How
it's
is that important?
so
Why is that important?
Well, it is important because, like, we're all finite human beings. We're trying to understand what's happening here, and and if you, like, in a way,
And that
compartmentalize
doesn't
all the
help.
things that we don't know into this great
Yeah.
answer, which is just, okay, why are we here? God. What's the meaning
God,
of life? God.
the God of the gaps,
Yeah.
the God of the gaps,
Well, it could be the God
the
of
God
the
of the gaps,
answers to everything too. So,
the God of the gaps.
who says it's bad,
You've heard of the
right? Yeah, I've
gaps,
heard
but
it.
you've heard of the
I've heard it.
yeah. So the gaps are just getting narrower and narrower. So they, I don't think we need to know everything. Maybe there's stuff that we don't know that just doesn't matter.
Mm,
Like say what happened when the universe began. Why does it matter?
yeah. But look,
Can you?
like,
I mean,
but I think that you would agree with me that, like, values are subjective ultimately, because, like, what is real, like, is really just what's real to me. If I was an insane person, what would be real to me is that, I'm friends with Elvis, and that I'm a superhero. I have powers, and I'm like the son of God. So to you, that would be reality, and no one could tell you any different. So in a way, like, so what is your definition of God? What's your definition of what matters? It ultimately, like, if you look at the experiences, well, if it's that's what it is to you, then I think that is what it is.
yeah. Well, it, if you maybe just try to leave the world a better place than when you found it,
But why does it matter,
you'd be doing
though?
all right.
Right?
Huh?
Like,
What?
why do we have to think about, like, making the world a better place? It's like,
Well,
why can't,
because there's a lot of problems, and most of them come from people.
like,
You know,
but who defines them as
we are our
problems,
biggest
though?
problem.
Right? It,
Huh?
like, I agree with you that there are these issues in front of us, but to me, I think it's an excuse, to escape the real question to life. Like, if you're gonna answer, like, I'm living my life so that the next life after me will have a better life. But
Well,
initially, so you don't really
no,
answer why you
I
have
don't.
life. It's just an escape, right? It's your
Yeah.
and and you have to face that question, and to me, we all try to answer it, but I, I hope that someone has answered it the best way they could. But
I don't. I I don't live. I don't live my life to guarantee, uh, you know, a place in heaven. You know what I mean? I don't do that. I don't care. You know, I don't, I'm not worried about burning in hell.
Well, no,
I don't
nobody's talking
necessarily
about
want
heaven
to
or
go
hell,
to
bro.
heaven.
Nobody's
Yeah,
talking
but
about
I
that.
think no, but before you were just saying, in your afterlife, so that I have a better life after this
No, no,
life.
I was talking about like for the the children or the youth or the next generation, that
Oh,
kind of
oh yeah, right. All
afterlife.
right.
I'm
Oh,
sorry
I'm
if you
sorry. Okay.
for the misunderstanding.
Okay. Yeah. So right, and that's you know, people have been trying to do that forever, and I think that's what we're doing. And we don't always get it right, and I just think that you live, you learn.
Yeah, but you also die, right? You live, you learn, you
Yeah.
die. But the thing
Yeah.
though
It's
is
all.
that, but
That's all
what
right.
did you do with what you learned? Because the thing is, like, life is here and it's gonna be over, right? So it's not really gonna matter to you whether or not the what happens after your life, right? It will be ultimately irrelevant. And so this is your only opportunity right now to live your life the best way you can, like optimally. The question is like, what am I going to do with it? Am
Yeah.
I and eh, people first like solve it by answering like survivability, like Maslow's hierarchy of needs, like security, food, shelter, and then and ultimately the pursuit of like self-realization or happiness. So so we have to so people just most people just stay on the first level. Just if I could live like for a long time, then my life is worth it. Like the longevity of my life is what makes it worth it, but not really. You're alive, you're a sustained thing, but that doesn't mean that it is worth it. So what makes it worth it? A lot of people like escape with like wealth or enjoy it with drugs or women or sex or it, yeah,
Yeah.
but
Or they try to eliminate desire. Like the
yeah,
Buddhists, I guess.
yeah, yeah,
To desire, but to desire not to desire is still desire.
yeah.
It's a,
True,
it's
true.
an endless. It's just an endless thing, and it's just a maze that you have to go through, and it's fine. Why,
Mm, mm,
I'm I just you know I try to be happy
mm.
as much as I can.
Yeah,
I don't know, and sometimes I get you know frustrated and angry and all that, but again, nothing is permanent. So you just every moment is a clean slate, I guess you could say, right?
mm, mm. True. Well, what I think though is for a lot of people and most people, like the I the reason they live is to distract themselves from finding the true meaning of life. Because if you're gonna ask like why am I here all every day of your life, you're just going to be in this bottomless pit, and you're never gonna find your
Yeah.
way out. So that's what they do is they distract themselves with this job or this next thing they want to buy or this next girl or this next goal. But the question I like to
Right.
ask is like, Mark Zuckerberg, Bill Gates, like Jeff Bezos, they're so fucking rich. Why are they working their asses off 5 times more than the than the person that needs to work more? Why are they still so
Yeah.
busy? They could just sit around and just live their lives happily, hire someone to manage their businesses. You can see
Yeah.
that
Well,
wealth
that's
doesn't solve the
not
problem though.
to, not to get off the subject here, but that money,
Yeah.
isn't doing anybody any good.
Yeah, it's not. It's
Okay.
not.
It's not doing anybody any good. It's not doing Jeff Bezos any good. And it's not doing anybody else any good.
It's hoarding,
That
man. It's
money is just
illegal.
sitting there, sucking up, what could be done with it.
Yeah.
You understand? That money is a problem for him and everyone else
Mm-hmm.
because he can't possibly use it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He
Yeah.
can't
What do you think
unless
about it?
unless he gives it away.
Unless he buys a
Unless he gives
country.
it away, he
Unless
can't use it.
well, he could
I
buy
mean,
a
not all of
country.
it. Not all of it, but you know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
why in the world would anybody need more than $1 billion? Do you think if you had $1 billion, they say miserable people will be miserable if they're rich or poor,
Yeah. What I could do with $1 billion is like create this buy this huge piece of land and like create a community in there where I define what culture and tradition and religion is, and like I could act like a god there, and but I'm just really paying people to act. Like you're hiring like Margot Robbie to be your bitch and whatnot. Like, oh, she's paying her like $1,000 an hour.
Okay.
It's a really interesting thing.
Well, all right.
You could do
Well,
a lot of things.
that's one way of looking at it. That's one way of looking at it. Yeah. Well, no, I get your point, but but I'm saying, in a more altruistic way, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah. But
Anyway,
the things you can do,
so
right?
no, but like you were saying, the next thing that's going to make you happy, that's
Mhm.
what you want, right? The next
Yeah,
thing,
man.
some more money, payday.
It's
That
endless.
comes,
It's
you get
endless.
a better job, that comes, you get more money, that blah blah blah
Mhm.
blah blah, up and down, back and forth. And
Yeah.
so why does it, what does it lead anywhere, or does it have a meaning, or but Monty Python. Watch The Meaning of Life by Monty Python. There it
Yeah,
is.
I love that
You want to
those
know,
movies, bro. Like,
you want to know the meaning of life? Watch the movie.
yeah.
Yeah,
I
but
yeah, I watched
it's
this
fun
video.
to talk about it.
Yeah, especially like Monty Python. Like, I'm young, but I watch a lot of them, and they revolutionized TV, bro. Like that stuff was
And,
really cool. Like the satire and how they
yeah,
portrayed traditional ideas. I think at that
yeah,
time it's really phenomenal, and and
yeah,
but the thing, what's happening right now though, like these days, like everybody's just desecrating things, and there's nothing is beautiful is created anymore, like that, because I don't know, maybe that's how I feel, like there's no improvement happening in terms of values, right? Like we're all divided in what we
yeah,
think is the ideal. If you look at America, right? Like America would see an American from from the red states would see good in what a president is doing, and then in the others, like it's just the desecration of the country now. I don't know it. We're all in this pluralistic mess that no we don't know what we want to do as a human race, and China is winning it, and it's sad to think of a world ruled by China. I don't want that, man.
by China.
Yeah, China is winning, bro. Like it's
Yeah,
a lot of countries are indebted to China now, and
yeah,
that interest is gonna grow bigger and bigger. Yeah.
yeah. Well, there's a lot of stuff that's out of our hands. That's for sure.
But is it though? Is it out of your hand? Like, um,
Well, I voted.
well, you think that way, but
that's what else can I do? I mean,
mm-hmm,
I can express my opinion
mm-hmm.
and vote and scream and holler and jump up and down and
Yeah, but
I don't know,
I think though that
run
you know,
for office.
the system. I'm not criticizing the system. I love democracy. It's the best we got. But the how we think as individuals in a way actually is a tool for like these huge companies to overpower us, right? Like, so because
Yes.
you're in an individual, this is what you deserve, what you work for. I love like
Yeah.
maybe I love capitalism, neoliberalism. I'm that too, but in a way I have huge criticisms of it as well, that these huge companies, you're right, like they have so much potential to help or like assist in the welfare of the whole, but
Sure.
they're not doing anything enough.
No,
they
no,
they,
they're
they
not.
just want to look good.
They don't want to pay taxes.
They
They're
just
like the president. They don't want to pay taxes,
Yeah, they
and
just
they
want to
don't.
look good. They donate to this
Yeah.
cause, these causes, but it's just a small percentage of what they have in their pockets. It
Yeah.
yeah.
Individual wealth is destroying
Mhm.
the world economy.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, I'm not against capitalism. I'm not a communist.
Yeah.
You can have your capitalism, but with some restrictions.
True.
How about that? How about,
True.
we just keep a check on you so that you don't get too big and powerful and start buying politicians and ruining everybody's life. How about
Yeah.
that?
Yeah. Lobbying should be illegal, man. Like, for real.
Yeah.
like
Yeah. It's
like
bribery.
you're using money in order to impose your political influence on a country.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's already what feudal lords or did in the past, and
It's
oligarchs.
worse than bribery.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's bribery on a massive scale. And
Mhm. That's why I like the idea of universal basic income, because the technology is that it's just going to be robotic, automatic. It's all gonna be machine
yeah.
someday. Human labor, it won't be
Yeah.
necessary, and so
Well, that may be, but let me just tell you, in my field of work, I run printing presses
mhm.
for almost what 15, 20 years now. I've been hearing how it's going to be obsolete.
Yeah.
Nobody's going to print, nobody's going to put ink on paper anymore. And let me tell you, it's not true.
Well, we
There's
do
still
need those
plenty of,
writers and like create.
there's still plenty of there's still plenty of work for
Mm.
human hands.
Yeah, I guess for manual labor though, like repetitive actions, it is more efficient to just
Yeah.
build a robot or a machine for that.
Well, yeah, right. I mean, that's the way I did. I run the machine, but you can have machines, but you got to have people to run the machines.
True.
So
Yeah. Yeah.
that's what I'm
But I
talking
guess it
about.
lessens the necessary workforce by a huge
Yeah,
percentage.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Yeah. So
Well, they're demanding. They're
oh
demanding that I work Saturday, so apparently
damn.
there's a lot to be done.
Yeah. Dang. But one more question, man. Like, it's been a great conversation with you, and we're almost at the hour limit that
Hmm.
but one last question. You voted, I guess, probably Biden, and I guess that
Yeah,
you've this understanding that this is the best way I could like make a better society. But
sure.
where do you think America is heading though? So many people with that division in that sense.
Yeah. It, it doesn't look good. I got to be honest with you. I'm not overly optimistic.
Mm-hmm.
More. I don't know. You can't tell people what to think. You know what I mean? You can't get inside their head and
Well, in a
try to.
democratic country, right? But in like China, you
Yeah.
can't think for yourself there too.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Well,
So
we don't want that either.
yeah, so
It's
you
just
gotta hit
that
the balance, right?
some people in America just they're not paying attention, or something, or they're just I don't know what the problem is, but
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it's just the problem is too deep and too wide to even
Mm-hmm.
for me to begin because people listen. Anybody that thinks Donald Trump is a good guy, to me, is out of their mind.
Yeah.
There's no other way for me to put it. I mean, they're not out of their mind, but just not paying attention. You're not looking closely enough. It's this isn't a football game. This isn't your favorite sports team.
Mm-hmm.
This isn't just your dumb, uneducated opinion. This is important. There's a lot at stake here, And so I like him because he speaks his mind. Well, there's not much mind. Have you ever listened to him?
Yeah, it's so funny
He
though.
doesn't say anything. He talks and talks and doesn't say anything. It's like they suck and we're great and screw them and yay us. That's it. That's all there is. There's not, we're going to have a health care plan. Really?
Yeah, so Matt, I would love to talk to you more about this in another episode, but thank you so much for being on my podcast, man.
All right. Thank you, Oma. It's been a pleasure.
Awesome talking to you about life, man. It's really cool to talk about someone, especially you've lived a lot more than me, and
I'm an old man. Yep.
yeah. But I hope that I get to that age too someday. But yeah, bye, man.
Yeah.
Thank you so
Me
much.
too, man. I'm sure you will.
Yeah.
I'm sure you will.
Bye, bro. So that's the end of it. Thanks for tuning in, guys. This is your host, Elmo Ador Jr. And thank you for listening in. And please subscribe. Please follow us on Facebook. Please follow this. Please. Thanks.
It used to be hard to find the exact auto parts you needed, and that meant spending a lot of time at swap meets. It's a different game now when you can order exactly what you need from eBay Motors. They have 122 million parts, so you can always find the right fitment. Spend less time searching and more time building with the eBay Motors app or visit ebaymotors.com. Let's ride.
Holidays are here, and so is fashionable fitness. Gift yourself a Samsung Galaxy Z Flip 3 5G, a phone that folds in half to literally stand on its own. Pair it with the Galaxy Watch 4 for ultimate wellness and wow factor. Check health stats, flex personal records. Over 90 activities can be tracked, like biking, swimming, golfing, and more. Invest in yourself with tech made to crush goals. Holidays open up with Galaxy. Shop it all at Samsung.com. 5G connection and availability may vary. Check with carrier. Products sold separately.